Welcome back to One Piece Anime Review. This is special number 7. Yeah, I haven't done one of these in like 4 months. I decided to do this one because, well, the newest chapter of One Piece just came out yesterday, I believe it was. Yeah, yesterday. And I kind of figured, oh, why not do a review of the newest chapter, which is called The Last Request. This is chapter 896. First, you have the cover story with the captain of the giant pirates, Captain Hydrogen, where it looks like that he got himself a new cape and he got his helmet fixed. Yeah, after Luffy basically broke a piece off it during the events in Dressrosa, he finally got his helmet fixed after all this time. This is just still the whole thing what happened with the last chapter where Buggy goes out and tries to get the giant pirates back because they quit working for him because they also joined the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. Pretty much now the regular chapter starts off with a countdown to like 1 a.m., like 32 minutes until we have a Coco Island. And they're also a Katakuri. You have Katakuri's siblings just standing outside this mirror on Coco Island, and they're wondering like what if he's going to come out or not. And they talk about Broly as well, Breely. And then we cut to Sanji, who is wearing a cloak and hiding. He's there with Pudding, and Pudding is still having her 3-eye form out, and she's, well, talking about the whole thing of, well, of course, the reference stuff that happened like about 20, 30 chapters back, like prior to the whole thing of the big crashing of the wedding when Sanji and Pudding agreed to get married and stuff like that. Of course, she still has the 3-eye look, and he doesn't have a really big problem with it. He says he was glad that she was his fiancée, and he was crying. He says, "Stop crying." And she says, "Sanji, I have a request, just one last request." And she just pulls a cigarette out of his mouth for some reason. As for what the quest is, we have to wait the next chapter because this next part here is something that a lot of people I've seen on Facebook, basically people talking about this, and I'm going to talk about this right now. So you still have Katakuri and Luffy basically still fighting in the mirror world, and they're fighting like crazy, like fists going back and forth. Luffy in his Snake Man form. Well, looks like Luffy's about to lose. He gets, and then also Katakuri looks like he collapses as well. So it looks like that the battle ends in a draw, which is something. And they cut back to Whole Cake Island, which Big Mom said her home is still capsized. So I'm like, really? It still is? Okay. And then we see what looks like I'm not sure this, but we also have Baron Tamango's third form. First time in a while people have seen this guy, and like, wow, it's a surprise to see him. And there's this gangster guy. I think he's one of Big Mom's sons. But like his sister, he has this very weird nose, and the face is very similar to that of Caesar Clown. I think they're distantly related, but no one's ever said if they are or not. And they talk for a while. We cut to, I think this is supposed to be Prometheus chasing. Yeah, this is Prometheus, this giant sun thing chasing the fire tank pirates. Because, well, why not? And we also see what looks like the Straw Hat ship. Looks like part of the ship, like the building that the quarters look like, been damaged. And of course, also, Jinbei is talking. If I can get back to it, yeah, this guy came up. Anyways, come on, seriously. Yeah, Jinbei is mentioning like don't take Luffy into account, and then yeah, we see this only briefly, and I think they do pop up once more before the chapter ends. And Luffy gets up, he's out of his Snake Man form, he's back to his normal. He's out of Haki now. Yeah, he's out of Haki, so he's back to his normal form. And Katakuri kind of gets up, and he says, "What time is it right now?" He says, "Someday be back here to defeat Big Mom." And he says, "Of course, I am the man who be the Pirate King. You're looking pretty far into the future." and he just collapses right over. And it looks like Luffy won, surprisingly. And look at Luffy compared to Katakuri. Yeah, looking at this, man, this guy is huge. I thought he could be like 24, 25 feet tall. So I've heard one person mention he's possibly 5 meters tall. As for how tall he is, I don't know. He's technically the second tallest person in the whole entire franchise who is not a giant. I think his mother's even taller than Gecko Moria. Yeah, the guy who basically eats up shadows. And then, of course, and then Luffy takes, I think he takes his own hat. He takes a hat and covers up Katakuri's mouth. Basically, it was very nice of him to do that. But I think he tosses a hat. I'm not sure whose hat this is supposed to be. Yeah, it probably is his hat, but he takes a hat, covers up Katakuri's mouth, which is very thoughtful for him to do. And and then someone says, "Big brother." I think this is, yeah, it's Broly. "Big brother, Katakuri." And she's like, upside down, and it's Pankums. Yep, Pankums. Wow. Yeah, I guess some people who haven't read the manga are like, wow, it's been a while since anybody's seen this guy. Yeah, last time anybody saw him, he got shot by Capone, the gang. Benj. Yeah, the gang shot this guy and he fell into the ocean. But look if he was saved by the Sun Pirates. Yeah, so it's I guess some people, I agree with a lot of people. Like, I was so happy to see this guy again, because this guy is just a pure fun of a character. And we got back to Coco Island, and it looks like Sanji's got another cigarette in his mouth, as what the last request, I don't know, probably find the next chapter. And we see it briefly, and it's getting very close to 1 a.m., and I don't remember this guy's name. He says, "Does everybody have the weapons ready? He'll appear in the next 5 minutes. Come on out, Straw Hat Luffy." And that's where the chapter ends. Wow, this is... When I read this last night, I'm like, wow, this is such an interesting chapter. I just had to talk about it. And so the fight between Luffy and Katakuri, that's over. And props to Luffy for covering up the guy's mouth, because I think Katakuri is embarrassed by his own mouth. And as far as I know, roughly about 2 or 3 people in the whole entire series have actually seen what his mouth looks like. One is one of his own siblings. 2, it's Luffy. And 3, it's a few of his minor men that he had. And probably the highlight of the whole chapter is the return of Pankums, which is the first time in quite a while. I'm trying to think. It's probably been a good, like, 50... It's been, like... I think the last time he physically showed up was about quarter way into this arc. And in the anime, he did make a recent appearance where it was revealed that he had just survived being shot by Capone. Yeah, but it's a pretty, really good surprise, the fact he actually did do that. Yep. And all in all, one great chapter, and it does look like that definitely, and this is just a possibility, that either the way it looks by the end of this particular chapter, this arc looks like it's about to wrap up. Yeah, after it's been going on now for, at this rate, since this is chapter 896, this whole arc has been going on now for exactly 72 chapters. Yes, 72 chapters. So either it'll probably wrap up, and this is just a theory. It probably won't wrap up in the next chapter because that'd be a little too soon. It'll probably wrap up either in one of these 3 chapters. It will be 898, 899, or even 900. It'll probably wrap up in one of these 3 chapters. As for which one, I don't know. But yeah, it's But I do know this for a fact. It's not that long until you reach chapter 900, and the series is going to hit that really soon. Since this week, because we just came back from a 1 week break. Yeah, because I was off last week. So we have 897 coming next week because it did not say next week on break. So 97 probably come the week of the 9th. And then the following week after that will be 898. And then like the second last week of this month is probably when chapter 899 is going to be released. And this is just my personal theory that chapter 900 will probably be released the first week of April. That is just my personal theory right now because the series does take hiatuses, but it definitely looks like it's going to be April. And if it takes this break after chapter 899, which it's probably what's going to happen, that after that particular chapter, that's like the next chapter after that will be 900, but it'll take its next break after that one because it seems like a good time to do it because I'm sure probably 900 is probably going to be a big chapter. I hope it is because it's 900 chapters. I mean, when have you heard of a manga lasting as long as this one? I mean, by far the longest running manga right now is JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, which right now for that series, I'm on part 6 right now, which I'm about barely about partway through. I'm like just about 10, 15 chapters into it. I haven't had a chance to read any further into it. But currently, that is considered to be the longest running manga right now. And I heard yesterday that Hunter x Hunter celebrated 20 years yesterday, which that's a surprise. But in the case of One Piece, it celebrated its 20th anniversary last year. Yep. But all in all, great chapter. I'm going to give this chapter a 9. This chapter, I'm going to give overall a 9.75 out of 10. It's really good. And if you watch the anime, I do recommend reading the One Piece manga as well. Though it's long. Though this particular chapter is going to probably be collected, and this is just my personal theory, probably volume 88, which has not been released yet, because I believe it was just 2 or 3 weeks ago they just released book number 85. Yeah, 85 is the most newest book they released so far here, and 88 is probably going to be the next book released over there. As for when it's going to come out, I don't know. It probably come out really soon, but here it probably won't come out until maybe like I'd say maybe the summertime, because usually the way Viz Media releases the books for One Piece is that they release the books like 3 books behind. Like, even though the 85 just came out here, 88 is probably come out soon over in Japan. It's probably been released right now. But they're usually about 3 books behind, which isn't too bad. I mean, it's not as bad as, let's say, Tokyo Ri, where just recently, I think like book 4 just came out for that, and like books 2, 3, and 4 just came out and over in Japan. They've already released about 13 books so far. They're way behind on that particular series. But there are some series Viz Media does keep up with the release when it comes to Japan, and there's others they just don't. That's just basically how they are. But that's it for this video. Stay tuned for my next video, which is going to be another episode of my Comic Corner, and it's going to be on 2 women from Marvel Comics. Yep, you'll find out who they are in the next episode. Alright? But in the next video, alright? Until I see you in the next video, bye.